To you.
Who the fuck are you?
First of all, you gotta calm down.
I gotta calm down, but you're gonna call me a fucking imposter.
Yeah,
you're here fucking protesting
I am.
my fucking clan. Yeah, but you're here protesting my clan.
If you were here,
and then you want to fucking talk to me about disrespect. Shut your fucking mouth.
If you were here,
shut the fuck up.
I'm reading about the tribe of the Native Americans.
You think this is a fucking joke?
You're drunk. Calm down.
Drunk?
By 22 Division. Drunk.
I don't give a fuck, nigga. I'm a fucking gangster.
Okay. Okay.
And you're here fucking talking about fucking naval, tribal fucking things?
You see this? This is live.
I don't give a fuck.
You see this? This is how it is. This is how it is for us when we come out here. Hey, this
reminds me
of Victoria and Dundas.
Oh, for you, right? You're a fucking black man. You're talking about a lot of fucking people?
But we're brothers. If you are a Gadite, we are actually brothers, and this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I come to you and I ask you.
You're not listening.
Shut up.
No, I don't have to. I'm trying to teach you.
You don't need to shut up?
Yo, bro. Yo, bro. Bro, bro. Get the cock back the hammer and bust your face. Bitch ass, bitch ass. Yo, bitch ass. Get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. You know who you're talking to? I'm fucking crazy. You don't know me. Now you're leaking. You should have been speaking. Now you're fucking leaking. Bitch ass nigga. Bitch ass. Don't ever come up here and disrespect my shit. Now you're all leaking. Get the fuck out of here. Now I took your gun. What are you gonna do? Now I took your gun. Now I can fuck you up. Who's the bitch? Yeah. And yo, your gun is fucking unloaded. You're a fucking buster too. Fucking wankster. Fucking wankster. Fucking homo thug. Bitch nigga. You're a bitch. You're a fucking bitch nigga.
Yeah, but before you.
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Racha, Kadash. Double honors and salutations to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to you brothers out on the highways and byways, pushing this truth with fear and sincerity. And Shalom to the hopeful elect. It's your brother Khalak Hard coming back at you with another video. And this video been circling around since Saturday. A brother out in Canada was out there preaching the word, and this Edomite ran up on him, saying he was from the tribe, from one of the tribes, his clan. But turns to find out he was just an imposter, one of those $5 Indians. And, we're coming in these times where things like this is going to happen more and more. I was watching the brothers in Dallas Friday, and some Jake was throwing rocks at them, He was throwing rocks at them as they was just getting into, their live. They had to watch out. They had to, move around and whatnot. And, this is part of it. The persecutions, the false accusing, and, people doing things like this, and this brother's by himself. I'm a brother that's recently by himself, and, when I'm out there on the highways and byways, alone, I'm always, whoever come up close, I always make sure I say, you got a question, or you all right, what's going on, like, because people do that. They'll stop and look at you, and you can tell by the spirit that they're on. You can tell, what they're going to be doing, or you can just sense it. Some people just stop to look at the sign, and keep moving. They don't see themselves on the sign, so they don't got nothing to say. Some people will listen to the message, and listen and then move around, they probably have a question, probably they won't, and they'll just leave. But like this past weekend, I had this, dude looked bugged out, but he came up walking in circles. And I'm like, you good? You all right? He's like, yeah, you preaching the word, that's all. And I was like, all right, all praises, Another dude walked up and looked at the sign. I asked him, yeah, you got a question? He just ignored me and kept, he looked at the sign, listened for a second, then he got out. Also, I try to, sometimes when people are walking up, depending on their spirit, I try to go in, this subject, what I'm talking about, I try to like ease, try to almost talk in code or make my speech a little bit more subtle so you don't know what I'm talking about, or even try to, ease it off so, you don't really cause incidents sometimes. Sometimes it boils over. Like one time, this a year or so ago, a year and a half ago, um, I had an Edomite come up on me asking questions. He was with a group of Edomites, and they all asking questions. They got their questions answered, and then this one particular Edomite wanted to continue to, ask questions he didn't even know the answers to. But nevertheless, the argument, we got in a little argument. He wanted to ask questions and he wanted to be disrespectful and whatnot. So I told him to get out of there, and he wouldn't leave, and he just kept standing there asking the same question over and over. When, in reality, I should have just kept preaching the word, but he was getting on my nerves. He was trying to, get me to, rouse up and whatnot. So after telling him to get out and leave me alone, he wouldn't leave, so I just packed up and left. I cursed him and then packed up and left on him. Same thing had happened again. This, probably a Jake, Edomite Jake, whatever, you know what I mean. White looking, white, so-called white man. But he appeared to be a Jake. Thought he was on some gangbanging shit, with the GDs and all of this stuff and what I'm repping and all of this. And, he got up real close on me, and I was like, you need to back up, man. You too close, and it kind of diffused the situation, and tell him what I was up there talking about. This ain't got nothing to do with what he's talking about, and he backed off, he backed off. So same thing, being out there by yourself is a different animal. It's a different beast. Because you're dealing, you by yourself, you're trying to read, you're trying to break down, you're trying to interpret stuff, you're trying to go into things, and then you got to be vigilantly watching, what's your surroundings that's coming in your radius. So, like Apostle Tahar was saying, like, go where people are, go where people can see you. In particular, I know where cameras are. Cameras are watching. Now, people of foot traffic, people see apartment windows, all of that. It's good to, if you're by yourself, or, even if you're not by yourself, that it's harder to when you're by yourself, because there's so many things that are going on, so many things you have to watch, so many things you have to be in tune with. You don't want to be caught out where you got your head down and somebody attack you and you can't see it. So either way, the Lord is with the men of the Lord. He's the angels, like the scriptures say, the angels encamp around them that fear him. Psalms 34 and verse 7, the angel of the Lord, Yahweh, encampeth around them that fear him and deliver them. So if you fearing the Lord, if you're doing what the Lord is telling you to do, the angels will be encamped around you. And I believe that the scriptures say that when man's ways are pleasing to the Lord, even his enemies will be at ease, be at ease with him. Oh, let me see if I can find out ways pleasing, because we're coming in those times, man, and it's you got to be circumspect. You got to be willing, or knowing how to deal with these people. Knowing how to deal with these people. Let me see if I can find it. I probably can't find it off the top of my head. But nevertheless, when your ways are pleasing, even the enemy, will be at peace with you. Now, could Jake had it, because he came up and Jake automatically was like, I already know what you on, I already see what you on. And quite frankly, I think it was kind of a, somewhat of a, not a misunderstanding, but this Edomite heard something and it irked his spirit, and Jake, kind of pushed the envelope. He's like, I already know what you on, get the fuck out of here. Like, and he tried to sell that I'm a $5 Indian, or I'm a $5 Indian. I'm an Indian and all of this, that's my tribe and all of that and whatnot. So again, sometimes you gotta play you got to supplant. You know, if you want a situation, you know, to maybe sometimes you like the scripture say in Matthew, you know, agree with your adversary. So like I'm going through the spirit, didn't have anything really chopped up, but Matthew 5:25, agree with thine adversary quickly while thou art in his way. You know, unless at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast in prison. So sometimes you know, you got an adversary, you got some Esau in your face, and you know, doing extra and all of this stuff, don't really know what he on. You by yourself, you know, because it's easier when you got multiple brothers around, you know, and one person walk up, there's 3 or 4 brothers around, 5 brothers around, you know, nothing, you know, things can be operated a little differently. But when you're by yourself, it's difficult, you know, it's difficult, you know, so we kind of got to be even more of a vigilant and more on the watch and whatnot. But yeah, agree with your adversary while he in the way with thee, you know, so always watch out, you know, because not like the brother did, he defended himself, man. You know, fuck that Edomite. At the end of the day, you know, he had judgment coming, and this was a lesson, you know, from the Lord. Like, hey, I'm about to turn it up a little bit more, so be prepared. You know, be prepared for this. Be prepared for the light persecution. Here, these persecutions come to that affliction. You know, I give you the water of affliction. I think that's in Isaiah the 49th chapter. So we know this is part of it. We know that you know, Edomites, other nations, even our own people, they want us dead. They want us out of the way. They don't want us preaching this word. They don't want us condemning them. You know, Psalms 144:1, call Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahshua B'Hashem Kakadash. It says, a Psalm of David, blessed be the Lord Yahweh my strength, which teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight. We're not in this silhouette of fighting, you know, going to war. Our weapons of warfare are not carnal, you know, they're spiritual. We're fighting principalities, angels and demons, what we're dealing with. You know, we're not out there to get in physical confrontations, but sometimes it leads to that, you know, and, you know, Lord, you know, you never know if it's, you know, you're going to make it home after going out there on the highways and byways, because it gets dangerous like that. Verse 2 says, my goodness and my fortress, my high tower and my deliverer, my shield, and he in whom I trust, who subdued my people under me. Lord Yahweh, what is man that thou takest knowledge of him, or the son of man that thou makest account of him? So we always supposed to trust in the Lord, because the Lord will deliver us. The Lord will be there with you. The Lord was with that brother, you know, beat the shit out of that Edomite, took his gun, which wasn't even loaded. You know, people online saying it's fake, it's staged. You paid a hobo to come disrupt you so you can beat his ass. People always got something to say, but they don't even know what the hell is going on. But I would say this, you know, this is what this is going to do, is this is going to put a national spotlight. You know, there's a bigger spotlight now, you know, on Jake, you know, on you men, on us men teaching the word. There's a spotlight now, because this is going viral. Even Willie D is talking about it. You got these you know, these people with a lot of followers, you know, talking about it. And we know the persecution is coming as part of it, but this is going to, you know, it's going to get in the minds of these people, and they're going to, you know, they're going to realize what is, you know, what the brother was saying in the beginning. Not only that, people are going to look at that whole video, you know, up until that moment, to that was happening, you know, and they're going to hear the words of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua, and they're going to, you know, they're going to get, that word is going to cut them like a sword, you know, pursuant to, I think, Hebrews, the 4th chapter, 4:12, that word is going to, you know, cut them like a sword. And a lot of Edomites are going to realize, like, you know, they talking about this land and all of this stuff, and we stole this land, and they calling us this, and imposters, and and it's more the narrative, that civil war that's coming, you know. So again, we got to remain be circumspect. You know, we got to remain circumspect in this thing and just know, it can happen. It can happen, group or just individual brothers. It don't matter. Like I said, the Lord put a lesson out. This is for edification. To be careful. Obviously, that brother shouldn't go back to that spot. He should find another spot. He should be where more and more people are passing by. So you can be, on camera, or you can be, you can have somebody's watching. If you're gonna be by, if you're by yourself. Ephesians 5:15, it says, "See then that thou walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the times, because the days are evil." So we know bad times are here. We know perilous times are here. We know people are bugging out. We know the people are waxing, their hearts are waxing cold. So if the hearts are continue to wax cold, we gotta, speak in code and be more vigilant. We gotta keep our eyes peeled. You got to keep your eyes peeled. You got to be watching around, like the word says. See then that you walk circumspectly. And that live, walk, breathe, talk circumspectly. Know who you're around. Know who's around you. Because you never know. We already know they're watching. They're watching the man of the Lord. Abaratazar, I'm one of those men. Now they do it to the end of this thing, but they're watching. Verse 17 says, "Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is." And we know the will of the Lord is giving this devil on the left hand side his time to rule, to bring out his MOTB, his new world order. We know the will that's part of the will. That's not the will of the Lord, but the Lord is giving the power and Esau on the left hand side to accomplish this thing. But the will of the Lord is to destroy it and establish the kingdom of heaven on earth. Yahweh Shah's kingdom. So we're patiently waiting for that. But we know through much tribulation, we got to enter into the kingdom. So we're going to have to go through it no matter what. Verse 18 says, "And be not drunk with wine wherewith incess, but be filled with the Spirit." So don't be, because what wine makes you happy. Don't be too happy about this. This is hard times coming. Don't be drunk, excess. You got to be more, circumspect because of the wiles of the devil. I think that's what is it? Galatians 6 or Ephesians 6. Yeah, Ephesians 6, next chapter. Finally, Ephesians 6 and verse 10, it says, "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." Let's look at that word, wiles. Right there is Methodiah.
Strong's G 3180. Methodiah.
Cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. So this devil is coming with trickery. The spirits, this devil, because the spiritual demon Satan is controlling the devil, which is the so-called white man. So he's gonna come with all trickery, try to get you all, bent out of shape, try to get you to do something that's more the flesh and not the spirit. Verse 12 says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to withstand the evil day, and have done all to stand." So, again, just making sure we looking out for the times that we're in, because this is gonna, ramp up. Look at that dude in the back. He see what's happening. The man got a gun pointed to him, and he just keep walking. He ain't call no police or nothing. He's just gone. He's gone. Fucking Esau. But say if it was reversed, it would have been, "Oh, this is a man in the park with a gun, black man in the park with a gun to his man's head. You know, but Esau, your days are coming, man. Fucking bitch. Shalom. Hope to see you on the next video. Lord